Hi guys, this is Dr. Taylor Brana, and if you don't know me, I am essentially putting up this course and everything together to teach you how to put together your own podcast. I've generated 5 podcasts at this point. I'm actually going to create 2 more. We've amassed more than maybe 250,000 downloads at this point, and podcasting is a really amazing opportunity, not only for you to potentially grow your business, but you gain so many skills along the way. And so I think it's incredibly important for people to know about this digital tool. It's an important thing to understand. And I've created several videos at this point. Obviously, there's many resources online, but if you want to check out my videos, you can always search Dr. Taylor Brana on YouTube. And I'm putting this series together for you to learn how to podcast. So these videos are in a specific order. So if you've missed out on the previous videos, I do want you to check out the other ones. But in today's video, I'm going to go over the general considerations that you're going to want to think about when you are beginning your podcast. This is going to, I'm going to go into 3 different topics that I think are really important for this. And that's going to be the space that you're going to need to have, the time that you're going to have to do this, and the commitment, because I think a lot of people don't realize the certain things that you're going to need to make sure that you have in place before you start to actually do this thing. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about this. And then in the following videos, I'm going to get really detailed and granular, and I'm going to start to really break down the exact things you need to do. And again, guys, I've been doing this for 3 to 4 years now. I don't want you to make the same mistakes I did. I want you to know exactly what to do. And so when you start podcasting or when you start to produce content, you're going to hit the ground running. You're going to do this thing right. And you're going to be able to generate things that are going to really impact people, provide value to them, hopefully improve their lives, and offer those resources or whatever it is that you do. So I'm going to go into these concepts for today. So let's talk about space for a second. So in general, the first thing you obviously are going to need to start to record is the appropriate space. Now, one of the things to think about with your space is you want to make sure that you have a den, a location that is your go-to spot for recording. Specifically, if you're choosing to do this at home. Now, I understand there's actually on-the-go podcasts, but because there's a COVID pandemic, I'm going to assume that we're all going to be doing this safely at home. So the big thing is you want to have a designated spot that's your own. And the one thing that comes up is, do you want an open room or very enclosed space? Now, I'm going to teach you, obviously, as you guys know, when you think about sound, you don't want to have too much echo in the room. So it's very important to have a more enclosed space. You're going to want to have things like rugs, carpets, foam, maybe towels. You're going to want to have things around you that are soaking up the sound as much as possible. If you're in a wide open space where the room is echoing a lot, if you're next to a window, if you're next to certain things, you're going to want to make sure that you're blocking some of that noise out. Now, specifically, like with the microphone that I have, there's more ambient capturing microphones, and then there's more specific condensed microphones. There's different types of microphones. I'm actually going to go through that in a different video, but specifically, depending on the microphone you have as well as the space, that's going to affect the audio you're going to capture. So it's very important to think about the space, what you have, and make sure that you have things that are really soaking up the noise. Sometimes you might actually literally need to be hanging towels, putting up little foam pieces on your table, doing whatever it is to sort of capture the noise that's going to reduce some of that's getting stuck into your audio. Now, of course, that can be edited afterwards, but we want to try to make sure that we have good quality audio as we're starting this thing out. And this, by the way, is true for not just audio podcasts, but also videos and things that you're going to produce. So it's very important to think about your audio when you do that stuff. And I talked about this before, but again, having a separate space is absolutely important. And I'm going to go into the next consideration that's going to kind of feed into this, and that's going to be time. So podcasting requires some time, right? You have to set up like the preparation beforehand, you have to actually record, and you have to do post editing and those types of things. So realistically, the preparation part's really important. So if you want to do a podcast where you're going to have guests, you're going to want to have time to set up to prepare for the reading or for looking through the book or looking through their website, looking through something so you can prepare for yourself, right? So I would say that for every hour that you're going to record, you're going to want to do at least 1 hour, if not more, maybe even double that of preparation, meaning you're doing your due diligence of reading up on someone, of writing down questions, especially early when you're getting started and you're just trying to understand what it is that you're actually going to talk about. So I would say for every hour you're recording, let's say you're doing a 30-minute podcast episode with a guest, you're going to want to spend at least an hour really looking through some content, writing out questions, making sure you have something prepared, okay? Afterwards, the editing process for every hour, I would say that also takes 2 hours of post-editing, kind of fixing things up. This actually gets a lot faster, and I'll tell you how long it actually takes me in a second. But in the beginning, you're going to want to, let's say you have a 1 hour episode, you're going to spend 2 hours preparing, and you're probably going to have to do the podcast episode. That's going to be an hour, and you're going to spend another 2 hours probably post editing and all that stuff, at least when you're getting used to a lot of the things. So I would say in the beginning, you want to make sure you set up some time for yourself. You want to block out in your schedule times you're going to prepare, times you're going to record, and times you're going to edit, right? You're going to put all these things together. And I'm going to tell you the caveat, which is if you don't want to do all this stuff, you can absolutely get an assistant. You can teach someone. And that's another reason why I'm offering coaching, because you don't have to do this by yourself. You can have help. You can have someone helping you. There's supports in the process if you don't want to do this alone. And actually, I highly recommend not doing this stuff on your own. So if time is an issue for you, there's absolutely ways to make podcasting work for you. So I just want to put that out there and let you know about that. So that's absolutely important. But the time consideration, if you're going to put out 1 hour of content, I would block out 5 hours in the beginning. And now for me, I'll tell you, now that I'm more efficient at this whole thing, I'll tell you probably for a 1 hour episode, it probably takes me about 2 hours total, meaning that the preparation, putting out the content, a lot of that stuff I can get in and out and get it done pretty quickly. So I would say it probably just takes me an additional hour. If there's a little bit more to do, maybe it might take another additional 30 minutes. But because I have an assistant, I have people helping me, it really doesn't take me that much time to start to create content. Now, the third general consideration that you're going to want to think about when putting out a podcast is your level of commitment. Now, podcasting is not just something that you start out of nowhere, right? So I'm putting these videos out, you're watching them, you're watching other content, but a podcast isn't successful on its own. You really have to commit yourself to producing content over time and committing yourself to an idea before you see any form of success. At the end of the day, this thing does take work. It takes effort. It takes consistency. And to do that, you're going to have to commit yourself to a schedule, to doing this thing over a prolonged period of time. Most podcasts, this is a statistic, I don't have it exact, but most podcasts fail mostly because most people they never hit 10 episodes. They never hit 20 episodes. They never hit 30 episodes. Most people fail because they start it, they get into the honeymoon phase of the podcasting, but then they end up quitting because they never stay consistent. They don't have the commitment. So I'm asking you, if you're really going to take this on, if you're going to do this, I would ask you to commit yourself to 6 months of a consistent schedule. That means you're going to say, I'm going to commit myself to recording 1 episode a week. I'm going to commit myself to recording 2 episodes a week. I'm going to commit myself to getting out X number of episodes in this month, right? So the commitment really needs to be there before I can even start to talk about the tools that we're going to use to record. Before I start to talk about all the fancy stuff we can get into, you really have to commit yourself to this thing, because as with any project, it doesn't take off if you don't have the consistent work effort and work ethic that's going to allow yourself to produce the results that you want, to get better at a craft, right? We don't all just get amazingly good at something over time. It takes committed effort. It takes consistent effort. And so I really ask you, are you committed to doing this thing? So I do not, take this lightly that you are going to have to put in some time to do this. It's super fun. I often forget how much time it takes because once I'm in the flow, it just goes. but the commitment needs to be there. So you have to really consider how committed you are to this thing. So those are the three major considerations, general considerations of this, okay? You're gonna think about your space, your area that you have. You're gonna think about the amount of time this is gonna take, and you're gonna ask yourself how committed you are to this. Why are you doing this thing? Why are you putting yourself through generating this project? You have to have a passion. You have to have something underneath it. And hopefully that passion is gonna drive you into what you wanna do. Now, I added a fourth thing in here, which is kind of what I'm gonna head into as almost like a teaser here, into the physical and the digital tools that we're gonna need to start a podcast. Now, if you're actually serious about this, 2020 is the best time. Now is the best time, especially with the pandemic, especially with the fact that people aren't meeting each other physically, learning these digital tools. Now is the time, okay? So I'm teasing you guys. We're gonna go over next the physical and the digital tools and what it really means to have the right tools in place to create digital media, specifically more geared towards podcasting, but this is actually gonna teach you stuff that you might use for something else. So I want to kind of leave it there for now. I'm gonna open it up for questions. This is live, and if I don't get any questions, I wanna let you know that at the end of this video, there's gonna be an outro. You're gonna see my email. You're gonna see a number you can text. If you have any follow-up questions, I'm gonna be putting out more videos like this. And if you wanna find this content online, you can search Dr. Taylor Brana. You can search my YouTube channel, Dr. Taylor Brana. You're gonna see it, and you will learn along with me. Guys, I'm super thankful for you listening, you watching this video today. I hope you learned something. We're gonna stay on track. We're gonna create great content for you. And I wanna thank you so much for your time. Have an amazing day, and I'll see you on the next one.